Okay, everybody, if you're listening, of course you are because you're watching us. Everybody just, I guess, use the bathroom while reading the chapter. So it's fresh. It's
Dookie
Anime
chapter.
Parlay. We're talking about chapter 1147. I keep looking up because I have my monitor here, so I apologize if it's weird that I keep looking up.
No
Anywho,
worries.
yeah, it's your boy Killer Camel at the crest of the crew. The crest of the crew.
Crest of the
The
crew.
crest of the crew. Yeah, the top part of
The
the crew. The
creme de la
crest. The
creme.
creme de la
There you
creme of
go.
the crew. Introduce themselves. Please go ahead, fellas.
What up, y'all? Peace and blessings. It's your boy Wild and Free.
It's Bash Ketchum here. Let's go.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this up real quick, and we're just gonna dive right in. No foreplay, none of that. We're just getting right into the details. Okay, so what the heck happened? We're just gonna go through this. We're gonna talk over it. We've all read it. Hopefully, if you're watching this, you've read it. But yeah, basically, pretty good chapter. I mean, just real quick feelers, guys. Like, what did you guys think of the chapters overall before we get into it?
Good stuff. I love it. There was a lot of recovery from the last chapter. I'll say that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
action packed. Very action packed. There was a lot of moving parts, a lot going on, a lot of build up. And as I told Kim before, Gunko has got some crazy freak in her, as does Oda. Putting Brook on like that and making him her slave is crazy work.
All right.
That was my initial thoughts.
Yeah, no, it's pretty wild. I don't know. So, okay, one thing that I'll say is like I need this cover story to end. I really need this cover story to
Yeah.
end. It is way
It's
too
time.
long. I do not care. I feel like I've seen the same like cover, like literally the singular page cover like a million times in a million iterations. Maybe it's the aesthetic of the clothing for Wano, but I'm over it. I need some kind of distinction, some change of scenery, something because I don't care about Raizo. I don't care about who's who. I barely care about. I used to really like Yamato, and now I'm like I'm really kind of off her now because I'm like this is lame, and I don't even know what's happening
Yeah.
anymore. Um, I just need this to end. Oda, it's over. It's a wrap. If there was any goodwill for Yamato, it's done. It's dead. Nobody even wants her as Straw
I-
Hat anymore.
They're trying
That's
to keep
how.
her involved in the storyline by doing this. It's a
But
little
that's how.
handicap
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how like
involvement.
bored people are with like this cover story. At least I don't know. Maybe I'm projecting, but I don't even care if she's in the story anymore. I'm over it. I've seen enough. Okay, so that being said, and also one last quick thing: are we going to act as if the central or one of the central conflicts of Wano, which was you have a whole bunch of people who are permanently disabled after having eaten a smile fruit, and now they cannot show any other emotions other than to smile, right? That
Yeah.
never gets solved, and no one seems interested, even in this like
Never.
post epilogue. Like we're kind of continuing the story of Wano, and it seems like everybody has food. Nobody cares
Yeah.
that these people are permanently disabled. They're not looking for a cure. They're not calling for a doctor. Like I don't know what's
Did
going on,
did
and
Killer ever get fully cured from that?
I
Or
don't think he
he
did.
still be
Nah.
laughing.
Nah.
I don't think he did, which is crazy because he was
He still
fighting
be laughing.
like he was fighting throughout the rest of Wano, like because he was in that big
Yeah.
rooftop scene, which he shouldn't have been in. But they acted as if he wasn't like inflicted by the smile side effect curse. And
Right.
like that was
Right.
one thing that motivated Kid in the first place. He was like, I gotta get Oda back, or sorry, not Oda. I gotta get Kaido back for
Right.
that because he permanently disfigured my crew member. Okay, anyways,
Yeah,
I mean
yeah, yeah.
we'll talk about that on a different day, but I just wanted to point that out because it seems like everybody just forgot about that, including Oda, and that was a pretty
I mean, they look
big.
happy, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they ate
Yeah,
the
maybe
smile
that's why
fruit.
they let it
Yeah,
slide.
I think they all ate the smile fruit, and it's they're all
Permanent
sad
happiness.
inside. But anyways,
Right.
jumping through. Okay, so first page, we get a good explanation as to what actually happened. Well,
Yeah.
basically the reason behind Robin and Chopper's
Robin.
cowardice, which is they had a pretty good reason. Saul tells them straight up, "This guy's immortal." Okay, that makes sense. Like why you wouldn't act. This guy's
Yeah.
immortal. Don't even try it. Basically, when he messes me up, right, you go and figure out how to save the children, right? Not really sure how Saul knows this. I'm just gonna put that out because I don't think that we've seen him. I mean, unless like, because we haven't seen him fight any other gods knights. So I'm kind of
I mean, he was.
confused how
Who's the
he would
vice admiral?
know. I
Yeah,
guess, but
Saul
even
knows
still,
things.
but even still, it's like when we see the vice admirals. I mean, just to put it in perspective, when the
Yeah.
Gorosei revealed their forms, they were killing people on sight for having seen them.
Yeah.
So I'm a
Yeah,
little confused
yeah,
how a vice admiral would know what a God's Knight was capable of, but we'll just
Fair.
leave that here for now. Okay, so
Yeah.
anyways, he whispers, "Hey, you guys, chill out. You know what I mean? Like, this guy's gonna jack you up. He's immoral. Just don't even worry about it. Just let me die or let me get messed up, and then you handle the kids later." I'm not gonna lie. One thing I will say is like Saint Summers throughout this entire chapter is like a G. He is just like
Yeah.
moving and like calling the shot. It's like watching like the villain that's like charismatic in a movie, who's
yeah.
like saying all the right things, and he's got like a step after a step after a step in terms of planning. It's kind of like Javier Bardem in Skyfall, like just like really just fun to watch. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I hope he gets another monologue or
Yeah.
something. But like, anyway, so we get Saint Summers. He's talking to Killingham. They're both talking to each other. They kind of have like an interesting rapport. I actually kind of like watching them. I don't know about you guys, but like I actually kind of like watching like the God's Knights interact. Like they seem like actually
Yeah.
pretty interesting characters. We then find out basically the entire crew, or at least this portion of the crew, has been taken out. Jinbei is, understandably kind of pissed off that at least he's stuck with the weakling trio, sort of here, in the sense of not knowing what to do with the God's Knight's abilities. Nami has a funny
Yeah.
moment where she blames Jinbei because he's supposed to be one of the strong ones, which was kind
Right.
of
I
cute.
thought that was hilarious.
We
Yeah.
get this
I actually
scene.
I
laughed out
actually
loud.
looked at it like I thought Jinbei was more like calculating the scenario more than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought the same, and then I saw he's like wrapped up and captured. I'm like, wait, okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's for
Look,
sure captured.
you just stop putting
Yeah,
up a
I
fight,
mean,
bro.
I don't know what they're wrapped up in, but I do think that they should be able to bust out of it, specifically Jinbei. I mean, maybe it's
Yeah.
arrows or something.
Yeah.
If not, I
That's what
mean,
I'm
I'd,
thinking.
I'd like to see a tie off where, like, maybe it's two arrows going different ways or something. Just something, you know what I mean? Because I'm like,
That'd be cool.
I need to see, like, Jinbei's strong. He should be able to break out of whatever this is. But, anyways,
Well, that's what I'm saying.
He
Like, I
should.
think he could, but he's just calculating right
Yeah, he
now.
might
You
be
know what I'm
just
saying? Because,
chilling
like,
and like he
if he
don't know.
knows he's immortal, he's got to
that's
figure
true,
out, okay,
yeah.
well, what am I
But they
supposed
still
to
got to
do?
escape,
Yeah.
though. I don't know. I mean, if he can get out, I feel like they would escape. I mean, that's just like a classic Strahd thing. It's like, you can't beat him, then escape and figure out a plan later. But, anywho, Brooke is the main man of the hour because he's got a lot of focus and attention from Gunko, and we'll find out why. Basically,
Hmm.
which is kind of interesting because Brooke says in this moment, he almost recognizes Gunko. I'm going to go back real quick.
Yes.
He almost
That was the part that stuck
Yeah.
out to me the
He
most.
says that woman,
Yeah.
no, it couldn't be. That's interesting because it's like,
He
Brooke,
got history.
where would you know Gunko from? Is this
He
like,
seen them panties before. That's how he knew.
well, I mean, it's something like that. Hopefully, she's not wearing the same
Yeah.
ones, but it's something
That's
that's
hilarious.
interesting.
Familiar
And
smell.
clearly, Gunko recognizes him as a Soul King. She's like, "You are gonna make music for me." Everybody's caught off guard. I love Jinbei's line here, which is like, "That's one hell of a groupie," which I just think is hilarious. I'm sure this is a scanlation. I'm sure the official translation will be different, but it's still pretty funny. And then basically you get Saint Summers again, who seems to be the leader of this operation. I'm just gonna put that out there. And then basically
yeah.
you kind of get this cool, like manly, heroic moment, from Brooke. It's obviously it's not a feat; it's just a nice moment. But
He
Right.
gets these,
he does get
like
these
the
nice.
moment with
yeah,
Big
yeah.
Mom.
Yes, he gets these nice moments where he comes in clutch, or at least maybe he says something that is very stoic, very Clint Eastwood. But basically, he kind of has his Loki moment of this. Maybe we'll call it this arc, where he's offered the opportunity to, sacrifice his integrity to some degree in order to continue to live, and he says no, and he gets kicked in the face for it. We then
Be
jump
standing on
into-
business, man.
Oh, of course. But we then jump into basically they're just kind of talking. Saint Summers goes through his whole little spiel to the rest of the basically just to the rest of Elbath citizenry, in which he goes, "Hey, I don't know why he's telling them this. I thought this was supposed to be like a clandestine operation, but whatever." He basically goes, "Hey, listen, like we're the God's Knights. I'm Saint Summers." He says his real name and everything. I'm Saint Summers. We're taking your kids. We got 10 of them. Here are their names. If you've got a problem with that, we'll just start killing them. That's basically what he says. And it's interesting because we get all these segments of the village or villages, which, they have all these kind of like specific artisans and specific tradespeople, which for the first time as we're kind of going through this is like, there are a lot of giants on this like island, right? That we just hadn't
Yeah.
seen before. It seemed like it was small before. Now it seems pretty big. Also, one thing to note out is I don't know if this is a aspect of Saint Sommers'
Huh.
powers, but is his briar fruit like an animal? Like, is it a living creature? Because this
Yeah.
It's
isn't a
like a
nightmare.
snaky dragon
I'm like, what is
vine
this? Like, how is his briar
with
like
thorns.
able to create
I
life?
could see it.
That's weird. I don't know. I think that's a
I could see it
stretch.
happening. The only reason why I
Crazy
say that
power.
is because recently with Aokiji, when we saw him
Did
turning
he
his
make
ice
something?
into he made like birds like flying at
But were
Garp during
were,
their fight.
were they living birds though? Because this thing looks like it's living.
Not necessarily. I mean,
Like, because
they
there's a
were
difference if
technically
it's
flapping
shaped,
in a way,
if
or
it's
like
shaped like a
flying towards
bird,
him.
or if it's like alive.
Yeah,
You get what I'm saying?
that's
Like
a fair
this,
sentiment.
this is
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
alive. But we'll see. Anyways,
Possibly.
Yeah,
this is
that's
This
crazy.
is just interesting. I'm just like that kind of caught me off guard a little bit. I'm like, what is your power now, dude? Like, okay. Anyway, so we get all these little snapshots of the villages. Killing them finally looks small because the rest of the we're just getting interesting size things. Basically,
looks so
they
weird.
want to kind of talk to Jaro because I guess he's like the second in command or in charge. We get a cutaway to the children. I'm not gonna lie, this is cute as heck. Like the introduction of all the kids, they all get their little one-liners and stuff like that. Colin's in the
Yeah,
lead.
Colin.
It's just nice to see, to be honest. I don't know. It's just,
I didn't give a shit about this part. I read past these kids' names so fast. I was like, "What's gonna happen? I don't give a fuck about these kids." I'm sorry for
That's
that.
hilarious.
You have to bleep that out, bro.
no, it's okay. It's okay. I'm actually probably gonna leave it in, but I don't know. I just thought,
That's
I thought it was cute. I thought it was cute. But anyways, so like, this is what I thought was lame. So like, the title of the chapter is "The Things We Are Afraid of," right? So it's a play on the
Yeah.
things I am afraid of, or the things you are afraid of. I forget what the original title was. It was referring to the kids.
Yeah.
Now it's referring to the collective we, the parents, and the kids. And you kind of, I think this is lame because you kind of get this like, I don't know if you guys are aware of this. There's a wife jack meme, like Wojak the meme. It's like the little figure or whatever. There's a wife jack. Where basically the meme, the joke for the meme is, oh man, my wife is so cute when she acts like this or like that, or when she says like, hey, take out the trash or something. I'm butchering the joke, but it's not funny anyways. It's not funny. But the point being is like this old tired joke of like, oh man, I'm like really afraid of my wife. Like that's what
That's
Oda's
funny.
doing right now. Which there's a lot of psychological analysis that I feel we can go into with like
Right.
Oda and his actual wife that, let's be honest, he doesn't see. And it seems like he's got
Hey,
very-
let's not attack the
some
man's
interesting.
personal life.
He's
No.
got some.
Oda, if you're
in-
watching this, we love you, big dog.
He's got
I
some
love you, Oda. I know what you're
interesting
talking about.
artistic choices where he's just, the time skip. Everybody's boobs are bigger. Everybody's wearing tighter clothes. Like
Oda, we love
it
you,
seems
bro.
like the women are, for whatever reason, a little bit more dominant. Like there's some interesting things going on. Some interesting psychological exhibitions at play. But anyway, so we
That's
have this.
fair.
We have this moment. It's the moms, right, that are just destroying the ship. The sad thing is like it actually works. They effectively
Yeah.
destroy the ship midair. All the pirates, go down, and we kind of get this challenge from Saint Sommers to Jarl. He's basically like, "Hey, dummy, here's what's gonna happen. You're an idiot for not embracing your warrior kind of history. So here's what you're gonna do in order to basically make this right and stop us from killing your kids. You need to burn everything that is not in relation to your warrior past. That means you need to burn the books of Ohara. You need to burn basically the history and all these little
schools,
stupid
the
library and
library,
schools and all
yep,
this other kind of stuff. You need to get rid of it, or else we are going to kill all your kids, or at least kill 10 of your kids.
More importantly, not just like, oh, you just need to burn the library and the schools and everything. You need to effectively pledge your allegiance to us to be
Yes.
our sword, effectively. Like,
Yes. And he used the word thralls. I'm kind of curious if that'll
Thralls,
be
yeah.
translated because basically a thrall is kind of like let's call it like like an indentured servant, borderline
Yeah.
kind of like a slave, to be
Thrall.
honest. But anyways, we'll see how that gets translated in the actual translation. But like I said, you get these little one-off moments with the kids, which is interesting. They have really unique designs and kind of fun personalities or whatever.
Yeah.
We still see more of the kids walking, and then we get
Check, check, check.
basically, yeah, we basically get this moment where like, Scopper is proud that his kid is like Colin
I
is,
loved that.
a part of the mix, a part of the action. It was kind of cute. Ripley, because I guess Frankie's down here as well. I didn't even notice him. He didn't have any lines this
Yeah.
entire chapter, but basically, Ripley and Scopper are now in the thick of it because Colin has been kidnapped. We then jump into, again, the teacher, I forget her name, pleading, hey, please don't, do this. The two important things like our culture, our history. It's more than that. It's all the collective knowledge that the Oharans were able to basically survive through. And, Saint Summers being the boss that he is, I'm actually starting to like Saint Summers. Being the boss that he is, he's like, shut your big mouth, which is just hilarious to say that to a giant because, like, it's just such a great insult.
That's hilarious.
Chopper basically is pleading because, Robin is shaken, literally, and pissed. She's shaking with anger. And then she goes full Mihawk for whatever reason. With the eyes. I mean, she just goes straight Mihawk.
That's hilarious.
Mihawk mode.
Mihawk.
And then basically you have this kind of dual moment, which is kind of interesting because Chopper saying don't do it and Ripley saying yes, do it. And you have two opposing characters, not opposing, but like juxtaposed characters, Scopper Gabon and Robin, basically like,
Yeah.
I don't care what happens, it's on now. So more than likely, just based on proximity, and I might go back and we'll look at the page for it. Based
Thank
on
you.
proximity, Robin is going to go at Saint Summers right now on site. And we've already discussed this, by the way, if you guys watched our last review.
Yeah.
This is a terrible matchup for Robin. She is not like in a good position, and hopefully Chopper gets his little, and I'm going to curse, I don't care, gets his bitch ass up out of Saul's hair and helps her because he's got
That's
guard
hilarious.
point and like, that's the perfect counter to Thorns. I mean, unless, he does some crazy stuff, but
All right.
he should be helping Robin. So it should be honestly like a 3-on-1. I mean, Scopper will get the opportunity because we know that Scopper has extremely strong hockey. It'll be interesting to see how his hockey interacts with the quote unquote immortality of the God's Knights vis-a-vis Saint Summers. But it looks like Scopper is going to probably join very quickly with Robin and hopefully Chopper if he's not still hiding. And we'll get ideally a 2 to 3-on-1 with Saint Summers in the next chapter. And thankfully, as you can see, there is no break. So
Yeah.
you guys give your thoughts. I'm going to pull
Yeah,
back
yeah.
and get back to the geography, and we can maybe kind of just
Yeah.
briefly.
Where it kind of showed the locations of everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh, here we go.
a lot of great recovery in this chapter. Like right off the jump, I was really glad to see, one, it addressed exactly what you were referring to last time, Killer Cam, right? Like, why
Escalation.
did Gunko, huh?
Well, I was going to say
The
escalation
escalation?
too, yeah.
Well, yeah, that too, for sure. But also, like, when you brought up, oh, well, why did we get no engagement with Gunko and Brooke from her love of his music, right? We saw that she was, like, listening to his music and that one of her favorite songs was one of Soul King's. We got that in this chapter to where it's like, okay, no, there's a clear, direct path between those two. But we got a little extra, right? Like, I really enjoyed that aspect of, like, and this is a continuation because we saw before, like, well, one, Brooke, why did you know what a God's Night was? And two, now, why are you, like, recognizing Gunko, right? So there's a very interesting kind of seed being planted here. And I'm glad we're getting to see this play out a little bit more. Another thing that I really appreciated about this chapter was what we were referring to before. Like, Robin is strong. Like, she should be showing up at the very least wanting to fight, even if it's a bad matchup. And we get to see that here at the end of this chapter. She is not going to yield, and I'm really excited to see how she might show up in these upcoming chapters, because the fight that we got with her in Wano displayed some really unique things for her, and it really does feel like she's, you know, I felt like she got a lot more love in that moment than any other Straw Hat, like even Jinbei's fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like there was some special attention on Robin during that fight, and so I'm hoping we get to see a lot more of that when it comes to Robin in intense combat and being able to see more displays of her power. And I absolutely think that this might be a scenario where we see her really put her hockey to the test, right? And so
Yeah.
that's something that I'm definitely looking forward to, because I do think that we need a broader expansion of the display of power from the Straw Hats and how they might be able to effectively overcome seemingly, you know, insurmountable challenges with the power of hockey, right? So definitely excited to see that with Robin upcoming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, lastly, I would say, yeah, I enjoyed Summers in this chapter. I did enjoy killing him also, right? He was like, yo, Summers, you dolt. Like, they kind of have this interesting interplay too, right? Where it's just like,
Nice back and forth.
yeah, he's throwing like calling the shots like Summers, but also like killing him is like, yeah, all right, you know, whatever. Like, I'm gonna play my part, you play your
Yeah.
part, kind of
He said,
thing.
I'm gonna do me, you do you, bro.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And so yeah, no, that's all I got for right now.
Yeah, no, I agree
Dash.
with you, Mr. Wild and Free. I'm excited as well to see what Robin can do. And we don't know how bad down Saul is, right?
Mhm.
Like, is he down for the count or what? Like, how bad did he get injured? So is Robin gonna have to take it to that next level? We kind of saw like a little bit of a devil fruit awakening, if you will, in Wano, right?
Yeah, yeah.
When she turned into that demon mode.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if she's gonna have to pull out something similar, or like you said, use some sort of hockey to to fight a top dog like Summers. So
Yeah,
I'm excited for that, and I do hope Chopper gets up off his ass and does something, even though he's a
for sure.
designated healer,
I know,
like
dude.
Killer Cam was talking
Yes.
about. And I'm
Yeah,
excited to see Scopper throw hands for the first time, because they've been kind of like
for real.
playing him up, building him up as the left hand of Captain Roger, man. I mean, that's gonna be exciting to see.
For sure. For sure.
So I'm
Another
Yeah.
thing I was gonna say too, Mugiwara called this out. Shout out to Mugiwara.
Yeah.
Mugiwara,
Last time
shout out.
he mentioned the whole Saul probably informed Robin kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so we did see that immediately when this chapter opened up. He did kind of have that insight to say, well, maybe there was, an understanding that he was immortal and that's why they were hiding. So shout out to Mugiwara on that. He called that.
Yeah, it was a good call. Couple things that I want to point out that I had in my notes, but I didn't get to it within the chapter review. Okay. Are we really being led to believe that Saint Sommers doesn't have observation hockey? Shouldn't he be able to detect that Chopper and Robin are within Saul's hair?
Yeah, I believe he can detect it.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I mean, it's fine, but that is something that, like, if I was to be
good
rather
point.
nitpicky, I would say, because there was a moment in the chapter where I thought he noticed, because he kind of has like a let me see if I can go back.
Yeah, I agree.
He
I feel
kind of
I
has
remember
like
seeing
this
him
like
that.
little like I don't know, it's like a little twitch.
Mm-hmm.
Where's it at? Where the fuck? I think it's in the beginning. Let me go back. Hold on. Here it is. Boom, right there. It seems like
Yeah.
Oda was trying to kind of hint, right? Because there's a moment where
Right.
there's like, and maybe it would be nice if like there is a later like little aside within the next chapter, because there's another thing that I'm going to point out, which is that all of these God's Knights are really putting respect on Luffy's name, and I loved it. They were constantly saying
Yeah.
like, we don't want to like mess with a new emperor. Like, they had respect, which I really liked. You know what I mean? Because you would think like they're celestial dragons, they don't really care, they'll do whatever they want, but they were very reticent to piss off. They respected the title of emperor, and they were very reticent to to piss Luffy off by either hurting his crew or killing his crew or imprisoning his crew or whatever. They just really kind of wanted to do their thing, which is basically to mess with the Elbaf pirates and leave, right? And not really kind of have any interaction with the Straw Hats, which I thought was interesting. So if there's like a note, maybe sometime in like the next chapter or so, that like Saint Sommers in this moment has actually recognized, because you get this like, I don't know if that's supposed to be a sound, like a snuffle or like a sniff or like a cough or just like a shuffle, whatever, right? That he is aware of and basically chooses to ignore because he can assume, okay, there's probably other Straw Hats. You know, we know who they are. I'm going to assume it's them. And I'm just going to kind of let sleeping dogs lie. I think that would be nice because otherwise, you know, to the original point, we now have to believe that Saint Sommers, a God's Knight, who at the very least should be proficient in observation and armament hockey, at the very least, doesn't know that there are two people hiding inside of Salsier right in front of him, which is kind of stupid. So I'm hoping that we get a moment where like Saint Sommers basically goes like, okay, you can come out now, or maybe Robin hops out and he goes, I knew you guys were there, I wasn't going to say anything, or just something like that that lets us know that Saint Sommers is no dummy. And that he knew that they were there and was allowing them to hide.
For sure. That's fair to say.
So that'd be nice. Like I said, I did like to see a lot of respect being put on the Straw Hat's name. I mean, again, we're now still waiting on Luffy. We're still waiting on Zoro and Sanji. They're just doing their own thing. We know they're going to come back and they're going to come back strong. I will say this. I'm a little disappointed. And this is very little. This is like 1% out of 100. I'm a little disappointed, though, that, like, even in this arc, we're still relying on, like, the monster trio. Because we just had that in Egghead. We just had that in Wano, right? Where, like, in Egghead, you know, Zoro is fighting Lucian. And obviously, if you're a fan of Zoro, I mean, everybody's like, oh, it's kind of BS that Zoro can't just take down Lucian immediately, which I agree. And then Sanji, his whole thing was to save Vegapunk and failed miserably at it. And basically the rest of it was just a Luffy show. And then in Wano, I mean, it was basically an ensemble cast of like heavy hitters with Sanji, Zoro, Kid, Law, and Luffy. That's it. So like, I do feel like sometimes like the rest of the crew gets marginalized, where like they don't get to really have their proper moments. I mean, to be honest, even within the context of Wano, Nami and Usopp fought, I mean, technically two, like Toby Roppo together, but it was like a weird joint fight.
I don't even really count those two, honestly.
Chopper really didn't even get a fight, you know what I mean? He like briefly skirmished with Queen, but like even Queen acknowledged like, okay, I wasn't even really being serious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it is one of those kind of things where I do feel like, yes, we are getting more characters. Yes, it is interesting to see these like new feats and new interactions. Obviously, we're getting Scopper Gabon. But I would like to see like, I mean, Wano should have been the moment where all of these Straw Hats get one-on-one fights that like have some kind of meaning, whether developmentally or something to them, which it really didn't get.
I mean, that kind of did happen in Wano. I'll give them that. It wasn't maybe as much as we wanted, but it did technically happen. And the reason why I say it didn't happen as much as we wanted is because I think the Toby Roppo were just weaker than we kind of perspectively. They were weaker, right?
One thing about the Toby Roppo is they get introduced in the final hour, literally.
Yeah.
It was like other than Page One and Ulti, the rest of them were like completely new, introduced right before the raid on Onigashima.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So
yeah, that's true.
Which is fair. And ex Drake technically, but he kind of flip sides. But you know, we knew about him. So the thing with this chapter and what you were just saying is like, I don't know yet, right? Like, yeah, we might be relying on the monster trio a lot, but maybe this is that moment where they show and prove. Yeah, we get a new character with Scopper Gabon showing up, and he might be the powerhouse in these next couple of chapters to hold down the biggest threat. However, we do also see Robin showing up in a very big way here at the end of this chapter. So I'm really hoping that Oda does allow this to play out
Hmm.
almost in such a way that the monster trio stay down there in the underworld with Loki and don't even realize all of this stuff that's happening. And by the time they come back, like the situation is handled, albeit even if they end up where it's like they're beaten, bruised, and battered a little bit, but they rescued the kids and the God's Knights have been, resolved. That would be amazing to see, which would give us a little bit more confidence in that. Okay, not every single scenario needs the monster trio present in order for the weight of the Yonko crew of the Straw Hats to really be felt.
That would be cool, I think,
Yeah.
but I feel like Nami, or not Nami, but Robin and Scopper and them,
Yeah,
they might get their moment. They might get a little bit of their moment, but the people want to see the Monster Trio at the end of the day.
the
So
people do want to see it.
you
You
know
know
what I'm
what?
saying?
But
They gotta
yeah.
do it so where like maybe they hold their own for some against Summers a little bit, and then Killingham comes and they get overwhelmed, and then Monster Trio got to step in and do their thing. But I'm interested to see how Loki's involved too because that's still up in the air as well.
He might just relax the whole time. I hope he just like lies down and is like, all right, y'all can handle this,
Yeah,
because
yeah, I
he
got it.
he got
Yeah,
badly hurt. He got badly
yeah,
hurt.
But
but they're
He,
like
they said it would
they're
take
like
months.
recouping though.
yeah,
They're like eating his
he
food
might
and
have
stuff
like a
together.
healing factor, like similar to kind of like Luffy, where it's like he eats food, his body just is able to heal pretty quickly. I feel like you might get one of those, right? Because I don't
Yeah.
think he'll actually be hurt for like 2 months. But
Yeah.
one thing that I
If
want to
they
point
take off
out,
his collar, then I could see that possibly happening.
yeah, I mean, one thing that I'll point
Facts.
out is like what I don't want One Piece to be or become, better yet, is One Punch Man, where
Hmm.
basically we are introduced to these like insurmountable villains, and in this particular case it's even more exaggerated because these people are immortal,
Immortal. Yeah.
Yeah.
but basically they're just waiting and stabbing off time and fighting their best, but ultimately kind of in a futile way as they wait for the real powerhouses to show up, i.e. Luffy. Like I don't want One Piece to be like that, and I understand. And we talked about this last chapter review, which is like in our predictions, what do we think was going to happen, right? It seemed like there needed to be a little bit more of a boil before we reintroduce
Yeah.
Luffy and Sanji and Zoro and potentially Loki back into the story, right? That we needed to see, things get really dire. I think we're
Hmm.
still getting there, right? I think that you would basically need to see like maybe Scopper defeated, maybe the crew in real danger, which is interesting because it seemed like the God's Knights were kind of taking the foot off the gas a little bit. They were like, we're just here for the
Yeah.
kids, or not here for the kids. We're just here so that you guys pledge allegiance to us, and then basically we'll give you the kids back, is kind of what it sounded like. Or at least we'll hold them
Hmm.
hostage, we just won't kill them. And we really don't want anything to do with the Straw Hats, so we're not really going to mess with them. This is really just between us and you giants. Like, that was interesting to me, because it kind of
Facts.
like downplayed a little bit of the escalation. If I don't know. We could talk about this forever, but like one thing that I think would be interesting is why isn't the world government trying to assassinate Nico Robin? She's the only person, as far as we know, in the world, beyond maybe Pudding with her third eye, that can read the poneglyphs. That seems like something that they would be
Well,
adamant in doing.
they are interested in her because the
The
CP9
CP0.
yeah, CP0 they follow her around and they keep tabs on her like they did in Wano.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
think they
but
just
you
realized
get
that it would be harder to kill her than
yes,
they initially expected, which
Yeah.
is why I think right now their focus is on the power grab. So imagine this scenario, right? Let's say in the God's Knights,
but hold on,
eyes, they're
just
like,
but let me just say this though. Wouldn't it be interesting if the God's Knights in this moment had two purposes? One, to solidify
well,
the
yes,
allegiance of the Giants, and then
but that's
two,
exactly
to
what I was
either
about to say.
kill or to capture Robin?
But that's what I'm
Because then it
saying.
brings the
Well,
Straw
they
Hats
were
What
into it
told
in
they
an
were
interesting
told to
what
way.
not mess with the Straw
That's what I'm
Hats though.
saying. So
I know, but I'm
what
saying like it'd
if
be interesting if
they
they
get the
didn't.
allegiance, right?
Mhm.
So the first objective here
Hmm.
would be to earn the allegiance of the giants, because
Mhm.
that would give them the power, right?
Hmm.
And then the second thing would also be, okay, cool. To test your loyalty to us, kill Nico Robin, right?
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
would be a very interesting way for them to take that and really play up that. scenario of Robin really being a threat to the
Yeah.
world government.
I feel you. I mean, and yes, that's a permutation of like how that could work. Yeah, I guess just like I don't know. I've been reading a lot of Game of Thrones lately, and I'm just thinking about like strategy and like I know that this might be like a higher reading level than no offense, guys, not you. I'm talking to the audience. A higher kind of like
Don't try our audience like that.
Hey man,
I'm
leave
just talking
our
about One
viewers
Piece fans in
alone,
general. I know
brother.
it's like a happy, fun family story, but like I'm talking about some real stuff. In real world, Emu is evil. Emu is like
Right.
a millennia's plus year old like demon devil godlike person who the one person in the entire world who is adamant about learning everything that happened in this history that clearly Emu is trying to suppress. Like, she's just a regular human. Like, yeah, she's
I mean, she
in
ain't regular.
sure, but like she's a let's just say outside of the crew, she's a relatively easy target based on the ammunition vis-a-vis the God's Knights, vis-a-vis the world government, vis-a-vis the Navy, whatever, at their disposal.
Yeah.
Nico Robin, I would love to see, and obviously you can't do this too much, but like since Enos Lobby, we have been introduced to the idea, and I mean, I'm gonna just point it out, and maybe this is a longer video. We'll do a discussion topic. I might start writing some of this stuff down because I want to talk about it later. But at the end of Venus Lobby, what happens? Aokiji speaks with her outside of the party and is like, "Listen, I'm glad that you found a crew. I'm not gonna arrest you. I'm glad that you found your place in the world. Make sure that you keep it that way, that you basically define your life and don't become like the devil or demon that the world government thinks that you are, right? Like if you are, or if you become like that, like I'll personally take you down," right? He threatens her and then he leaves her alone.
Yeah, I remember that.
We then get in, obviously, she's disappeared by Kuma, which kind of basically brings up like really negative memories for Luffy because he actually has lost her at this point within Shabadi Archipelago. We then get this is now post time skip that basically like Blackbeard has captured Pudding, right? Basically within like kind of the cover story, specifically because she is able to read the poneglyphs or is supposed to be able to read the poneglyphs with her third eye. Blackbeard, I forget the exact moment, but there's a moment where Blackbeard is literally talking about like we should kidnap Nico Robin, right? Because she has the ability to read poneglyphs. Like she is now an asset. And I think I remember like Nico Robin specifically says to Luffy like, "I'm fine, like I've got a good crew like protecting me," or something like that, right? But the point being is like there's this introduction of as Luffy has set his sights on getting the poneglyph rubbings and finding the One Piece and all this other kind of stuff, that Nico Robin is like an essential asset that other powers will vie to attain, right?
Yeah.
So the idea that, it's not just pirates that are after her because of her knowledge, because of her ability to read the poneglyphs, that it's also the world government that are either one, trying to imprison her or kill her and take her off the board. Like, one, it just makes her character that much more interesting that she's still kind of living this life like on the run, even though she's, part of this family and she's protected, but that she always still has to keep her guard up because she knows that she is a specific target. Like, that's good writing, and I feel like there's a lot of elements where like Oda kind of set it up and we just kind of get away from it because other things interest him.
It's a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
So-
the
Right,
world
right.
building and everything else going on.
There's
kinda
a lot in the story
I mean,
too.
detract
Yeah.
away from it.
perfect examples like bounty hunters. This world has bounties, but no one seems to be trying to collect them. You know what I mean? So
Because
it's like,
technically Zoro was a bounty hunter at one point, and I mean,
yeah,
we do see
He was.
a unique take on that with the what you call it, the new guild that
cross guild.
freaking Cross Guild.
Cross
Thank
Guild.
you. So that's a unique take because now they placed the bounties on the Marines, and so we did see a very small inclination of that. But you're very right. There's this concept of bounty hunters in the world now for both sides, for pirates and Marines, that we don't really get to see play out too often,
Nope.
or even affect our genuine, our core crew. the Straw Hats, right? Like there's been no scenario. I don't think, not to my
Well, the
knowledge,
Marine thing
that
is
there's
dumb
been.
because it's like,
Well,
I mean, let's be honest. There ain't that many popular Marines. I mean, what are you gonna kidnap? Helmeppo?
what's
You know what I
Kobe's
mean?
That's
bounty? Like
hilarious.
100 billion berries?
But no one's gonna
Yeah,
kidnap
something.
Kobe because we've already done that with Blackbeard, and even Blackbeard wasn't even trying to get a bounty for it. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
mean,
so even like the whole system, it's like
yeah.
you don't have the roster, you only got the bench to like warrant, I don't know, basically big moves where like we're gonna take this person off the map. Because otherwise, I mean, really, what are you talking about? Maybe vice admirals? Who are you gonna get smoked
Yeah.
with?
Yeah, I
Who
mean
cares?
the ultimate
You gonna get
goal
an
I think
admiral?
of
You
that
damn sure not gonna
of
get no
Cross Guild,
admiral.
not no
Yeah,
admiral, but I think the ultimate
that is
goal there
interesting.
was to effectively stifle military encroachment
Yes, yes, yes.
on the people, right? And so I think that that has, well, in theory, it has an effect that will uh, balance the scales in some way, shape, form, or fashion in regards to the pirates having their place in the world and having their territories, and it gives them an opportunity to subvert the the what do you call it, the presence, like too much of the presence of the Marines in various places, right? So if
Sure.
the Marines have a bounty on their head, they are more weary, they're not going out to certain places as much. It kind of gives some protections on a blanket sense just for piracy in general. So I think it has its purpose in that.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna say something blasphemous. I don't think Oda knows what he's doing with Cross Guild. I think he just had a couple
that's
characters, and he's like, I
it
just gotta.
sounds cool.
He's like, I just gotta put them together. It sounds cooler than another pirate crew or something like that, which effectively they are. But I think he's just like, you know,
It's kind
like
of like Sword.
basically, let's
Yeah,
take
yeah.
Mihawk. He's got nowhere to go. Let's take Buggy. He's got nowhere to go. Let's take Crocodile. He's a fan favorite. Let's just throw them together.
He's a fan
Okay,
favorite.
what do they do? Like,
Yeah.
oh, they go after Marines. How are they getting the money?
Yeah.
Who knows? Like, I think it's just. I don't think we're gonna see anything come out of that. And to be honest,
Yeah.
there is not that much development. Like, I
I
understand that
don't know.
like the Buggy Crew is supposed to be a faction. It's possible that Boa Hancock joins them because she also
Yeah.
has nowhere to go. And maybe we'll see Edward
That'd be
Weevil and
fascinating.
like kind of the older, maybe Gagamoria, like wherever he is. But like
Right.
maybe we'll see. I don't know. Maybe we'll see something. To be honest, I mean, this will never happen. One, because Blackbird's already done
Never
it,
say never.
and two, just because I just think it'd be kind of going back over like old territory.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting if Cross Guild's function was to break out prisoners to join their ranks. We already have that because I don't know, a certain percentage of them are like former prisoners that escaped because of Buggy, and obviously because of Luffy. But like that makes more sense to me than like hunting down Marines. If it's we're gonna put together a crazy big pirate crew because we also want to go for the One Piece. That makes more sense. Accumulating power, like joining like all these different kind of factions or whatever together under one banner. That makes sense to me. Going after Marines for bounties makes less sense to me. That's
I
I don't
think
know.
that Cross Guild won't have the same approach as Blackbeard for two reasons, right? Because I think Blackbeard was not as notable as Cross Guild is, right? Like I don't think Cross Guild, well, effectively Buggy and the upper echelon of Cross Guild, they're not going to be doing anything to try to recruit others, right? I do see their general members being so gung ho about their movements that they infatuate others with the idea of being a part of this movement and going after the One Piece. And so I think that there might be a natural accumulation into Cross Guild for people who are on the fringes with nowhere to go, right? Or that are so inspired by the idea that this guild has put bounties out on the Marines. They are going after the One Piece. Like there is a dream associated with this movement, and I want to be a
Yeah.
part of that, right? I
Well,
can see that happening,
yeah.
which would increase their power and their rank and their status as they move towards the One Piece. But I think after that chapter, when Buggy basically proclaimed that they're going after the One Piece now, I think that the movements of Cross Guild are really going to veer in that direction more than anything else. It's not going to be tangential operations.
One thing I want to just correct myself on, because I said that I thought that it's possible that Boa Hancock joins Cross Guild. Like, I think that's like a theory that's been put out there just because she doesn't really have anywhere to go after Blackbeard tried to invade. Well, not tried to, successfully invaded Amazon Lily. But then I just realized that would put her at odds with Luffy, which will never happen.
Yeah, that sure
So
won't
I don't know
happen.
where she goes, but I don't think it's going to be Cross Guild. Bash, did
She
you
might
have
have her
anything?
own like solo venture.
Yeah, maybe she's got to go somewhere. I mean, honestly, she should really just join the Straw Hat Grand Fleet and become
There you
Luffy's
go.
waifu. But Bash, did you have anything?
That's it for me, boys.
Okay,
Okay.
I don't know where we're at in terms of time. Obviously, there's so much more to discuss. I really want to talk about hockey. I want to redo that conversation just because I think it's extremely present or prescient in this moment in relation to we are now looking at an enemy that if you don't have hockey, particularly Conqueror's hockey, you just have no shot, right? I mean, maybe with Devil Fruit interactions, whatever, but like specifically because of their regeneration ability, we are seeing the rest of the Straw Hats get basically lapped. They are getting more and more distant from like
Hmm.
the current levels of power within the One Piece world. And I think there was a
Yeah,
lot of kind of, to be honest, BS with Wano in some of those matchups because you're looking at the Toby Ropo and you're like, where's your hockey and where's your awakening and why do you seem to be kind of pulling back punches like you're an ancient Zoan Devil Fruit user?
Yeah.
And we've been told so many times that like Zoan Devil Fruits, their main thing is their toughness and their endurance, and they just keep getting back up and keep getting back up. And you thought, to be funny, like Mr. Morge was like at the time because he was on this like the Raid London failure kind of thing was banking on the Toby Ropo are going to recover because that's just how they are. Even we saw that with Ulti, like she recovers like that.
Yeah.
And then they just
yeah.
stayed down. And everybody was like, wait, they're Zoans. Like, shouldn't they get right back up? Nope. They're down for
No.
the count. Made absolute no sense. It needed to happen for the plot. So,
Yeah, we
I
just
don't know.
got
We
to
need
talk
to
about the
see,
hockey switch.
yeah, we got to talk about hockey. But yeah, anyway. So, we'll wrap things up. Any final thoughts on the chapter, speculation for things to come?
Yes, actually. Another thing that we, obviously got confirmed in this chapter that we were speculating on from last chapter, right, was whether or not all of the God's Knights were immortal. And so we officially have that confirmed. And so that means a lot, right? Because it was effectively a blanket statement from Saul, like, hey, these guys are immortal. That means Gunko, that means Summers, that means killing him, and that means Shamrock.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
And so
yeah,
there is a lot of implications with that statement. And we don't even know if we have seen all of the God's Knights yet. There could
that's
be
true.
even more of them somewhere lingering around. So I think that they have a world of a battle in front of them, and we absolutely have to see something here in Elbath that lets us know there's a way to contend and fight against this immortality. And I'm hoping that Scopper Gaban is a bit of that beacon in the darkness, right? Expressing some kind of
Mm.
power that would allow them to at least hinder or subdue somebody who is immortal.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody's gonna lead the way in that fight, as far as an opening or a light at the end of a tunnel when it all looks so hopeless, I think it's gonna be Scopper. Um, but that being said, we might have to sacrifice him in the same sense. Him going out some crazy
Yeah,
type of way for him, to rescue the kids or whatever it may be, so the Straw Hats can get their, one shot in to do what they need to do. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see.
for
And I,
sure.
they have to figure out the immortality thing because Saul says they're immortal, but
Yeah.
every enemy has to be taken down somehow, some way. So it'll be interesting to see what that weakness is.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, I thought it was a really good chapter. It is definitely beginning to escalate. It'll be interesting to see how Chopper, Robin, and Scopper are able to interact with the regenerative powers of Saint Summers. I really don't think that I think that we're getting so much personality from the God's Knights at this point that like they will not be defeated. I think what will happen at the end of the arc is the exploit to how to attack them or hurt them will be found and they will escape. That's just what
Mm,
I think.
okay.
I think that we will see them again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't
for
know. I mean,
sure.
I think it's very interesting where we're at in terms of the arc so far. It seems like Oda's kind of getting into a rhythm of limiting the amount of exposition, and I think he learned this in Egghead, but limiting the amount of like world building and exposition, and developing the action and getting into it, and like knowing how to kind of space out feats and stuff like that, just to kind of make the story interesting and leave us with nice cliffhangers and stuff like that. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm glad to see that to some degree the crew is kind of left to their own devices to encounter this new threat and to try to figure out how to navigate them. I'm
Right.
not necessarily crazy, and I understand it's like just you just have to do it, but I'm not crazy that like that requires Luffy and Sanji and Zoro to be sidelined inexplicably because
Mm,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the idea that they are completely out of the loop still with
mm,
so much going on,
yeah.
like to be honest, like that fire that that Loki caused. None of the other new giant warrior pirates were like, "Oh, we should probably take care of that." Like we know that Elbaf, branching will go
Yeah.
up in flames just like that. Um, it just seems a little uncharacteristically lackadaisical, particularly given that there's like giant monsters like all over the
Yeah.
place.
I mean,
So
let's think about it this way too. I don't know if they know how to get back up there because their ship did crash.
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, but I don't know. I mean, like
They're effectively
Luffy
stranded.
got down there and then up and then down.
They'll
I
get
mean,
up there. Yeah, they'll get back up
I
somehow.
feel like there's a way to do it, but sure. But yeah, it is one of those kind of things where like I understand for a plot narrative standpoint, you have to separate them, otherwise Luffy would stop the plot from progressing because he would just defeat the villains. Like I get it. I wish there was a better reason than them just hanging out and eating food and talking crap. Like I wish that there was something maybe down there, even if it was like Shamrock that was
Mm,
holding them down there, and then maybe he leaves and frees them up to like go and do the thing. But like them just hanging out, it is a little weird.
He's gone, isn't he? Shamrock went
Yeah,
back,
Shamrock
teleported
Shamrock is
somewhere.
gone, but like
Yeah.
there should be something that is holding them there that is more narratively pressing than them just hanging out, eating food, and recuperating. That seems a little odd, specifically Luffy doing that. But anyways, exciting things to come. No break. Yeah, we'll probably talk maybe hockey, maybe this weekend or something like that. Seems like an interesting topic, given basically the kind of power gaps that are growing within the crew. So we shall see. All right, you
all
guys.
right.
Obviously, as always, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We hope you liked it. We always like to try to keep these relatively short, but it never happens. So we hope you like
Yeah.
long
We'll
form
work on it.
content where we discuss things at length and really kind of get our thoughts and feelings out there. Hopefully, you feel that sense of discussion and community or whatever. And if not, then watch us anyways. All right, so it's your boy Killer Cam. This is Anime Parlay.
Peace and blessings, y'all. It's your boy Wild and Free. I hit 1.25
Hey,
today
nice,
on the
Hey,
walk
nice.
pad.
let's get it. Bash catch him and we out.
All right, hey, until next time.
All right.
Well.